Okay, what's going on with the IFBB? Everyone is asking about what's going on right now, and I know maybe half of what's going on, but it's certainly enough to explain in general what's going on so that most people will understand it. So every other year, like what's been going on like right now is that we compete in the CBBF, we win nationals, we get a pro card, we go to like North Americans, we get a pro card. We go to these big shows and get pro cards. Even the drug-tested nationals in Canada added pro cards. So people seem to be really concerned with pro cards. You win the show, you become a pro, then you compete as a pro, and then most people do horrible as a pro and it doesn't matter. And the ones that are really good make it to the Olympia stage, which is awesome. So that seems to be the trend. Somebody goes to the gym 3 months later, they're like, yeah, my goal is to be IFBB pro and go to the Mr. Olympia. 3 months training, that's kind of what people think is going to happen in their future. Maybe 5% of people have a chance to be at that level. More so like 1% if we're lucky. But we'll summarize it as saying 5%. So now there's a change that's taking place. So the IFBB Pro division is going to have a different IFBB division called IFBB Elite Pro. So you have this group of people here, like me right now, is like IFBB Pro. Then now there's going to be another thing called IFBB Elite Pro. So there's contests over here and contests over here. And the CBBF Nationals is most likely switching to this new Elite Pro, not IFBB current way it's going pro. So if you won the Nationals, say, last year, like Johnny Shreve in bodybuilding, he's an IFBB Pro now. Next year, if you won, you would be an IFBB Elite Pro. What's the difference? The difference is Johnny would compete in the IFBB to try to go to the Mr. Olympia. If you win the Nationals this year, you're an Elite Pro, which wouldn't result in the Mr. Olympia if you won a pro show. Honestly, how many of us pros even are having a chance to go to the Olympia? It's so small of an amount. Not many. How many of you amateurs have a chance to go to the Olympia? Even less. So it doesn't really affect you unless you're awesome. If you're like almost winning nationals already, then sure, it might affect you. If you're looking to do your first show next year, or your second show, or you're like a top 3 provincial athlete, it has no real effect on you. So they've added new pro qualifiers for the IFBB. So for example, they've already announced the Vancouver Pro is going to have like an amateur division in there, and then the winner gets pro card. So everyone's like, oh, well, let's just do that. We don't need to do provincials. We don't need to do nationals. Let's just go to Vancouver, and then we can compete there to get it, because then we'll get a pro card. It's like, what's this we stuff? One person is the winner. One wins, not 100. So if every single person that's in the top 5 in every province all shows up to Vancouver, what's going to happen is you're going to get 50 people in a category. One person's going to win, and 49 are not going to win. So Nova Scotia, Vancouver. Okay, so your plane ticket, $1,000, some plane, some flight, some hotels, whatever, $2,000. You get to spend $2,000 to go to Vancouver to compete and get last place in the Mr. Vancouver whatever, because, ooh, if you win, you'll get a pro card. But you're not going to win. You're not going to win. Unless you know you're like so amazing that you have a really good chance of winning, then it might be worth going to that. But if you're everyone else, don't even think about it. Don't care. Who cares if it leads to the IFBB Mr. Olympia? Who cares if it leads to the IFBB Elite Pro? It doesn't matter. If you're just looking for a contest, just compete for fun. You should be competing for fun anyway. So don't let, if the contest has a pro card, dictate if you're competing or not. Unless you're the 5% of people that legit actually have a chance in hell of actually winning and getting a pro card. That is not most of you. 95% of you just compete in the same show that you're doing, and it doesn't matter if they have a pro card or not. I didn't spend my whole life competing in only shows that gave pro cards. I didn't care. I just competed because I liked it. Eventually, I got older and I'm like, okay, now I want to be a pro, blah, 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 and I'll go to this contest and I'll try to win for a pro card. But like that was after 15 years of competing. So just compete, enjoy it, and then have fun. Now, if you're curious about what is this Elite Pro, like me as an IFBB Pro, I can switch to the Elite Pro. What's the difference? In my current category, I can compete in the 212 class, which is what I've been doing, or I could compete in the above the 212 class, which would be men's open, or I could go classic physique, which is like for my height, like you have to weigh like 180 pounds, or if you're higher, you can weigh like 187, 195, whatever. You know, it goes by your height. That's classic physique. In the Elite Pro, it's not the 212 class. It's called the 198 class. So they have a 198 division. And they also have, if you have a, we'll call it a bubble gut because that's the name that a lot of people use. So if you have a bubble gut, roid gut, GH gut, whatever you want to call it, a food baby. If you have a big stomach, you're going to be marked down and get last place. If you have the fake delts, which is like 50% of pro bodybuilders now, see what you do is you inject oil under the muscle, like synthol, for example, and then it swells out. So then you get these huge boulder delts. So, I mean, it's not just bodybuilders, like men's physique. A lot of those guys are doing it too. So anyway, it's like a fake muscle, like having breast implants for women, except it's like oil and you inject it. You can put it in the bicep, the tricep. So half the bodybuilders, half their muscles are fake muscles. Like they're not real muscles, but a lot of them actually look like they're not using it. So that's pretty good. But if you look like you're using it, last place. So in a way, that Elite Pro is kind of cool for a guy like me that doesn't have like the really big distended stomachs or like the oil shoulders and all that stuff. So it would kind of give me a better chance, you know. So honestly, for me, being a guy that weighs under 198 when I compete, it's a good choice. So, you know, I could switch. But is there even an Elite Pro show yet? They haven't announced any. So I'm not going to switch federations to compete in a contest that doesn't exist yet. Let's say they add it next year. Maybe there's only 3 people. And they'll be like, oh, yay, I won. Oh, that's amazing. How was the contest? Well, I also got last place because there's only one guy. I mean, I'm not going to go in a contest to compete against myself. So placings doesn't really matter. I mean, it's fun to win and it's fun to place. But in the end, it's like, how did you look? And did you look your best? And did you feel good about the show? And was it a good, diet, process, journey? That's what really matters. So for most of you watching this video, just compete in whatever federation that you feel like, whatever the local one is, because then all your friends, your family, your girlfriend and your boyfriend and your aunt and whatever, they can come and cheer for you and you don't have to spend $2,000 to travel to do this show. Who cares if it's a pro card? Doesn't matter if it's in the IFBB or IFBB Pro League or IFBB this or amateur. If you're natural, do a drug-tested show. Stop complaining that everyone else is on steroids. Yeah, so what? Who cares? It's not like you're on steroids. Just compete for you against you. Don't worry about, I got beat by this person and they're on this and that and they're taking that and, I got second in bikini because the girl that won has breast implants and she has lip filler and she has whatever. It doesn't matter. Just do you. Be the best you can be. And so I hope it summarizes everything about the new competitions and the federations and categories and all this stuff. Basically, 2 federations kind of thing. Pick the one that you want. Don't just think you're going to just start traveling and competing. A lot of my clients are saying, well, I'm not doing nationals anymore. I'm not going to do provincials anymore. I'm just going to go to this pro show, pro qualifier. They're going to be called. Whatever, you can compete NPC, you can go to North Americans, you can still do all that the same as before, but in general, you need to be awesome before you can win a pro card, so don't let it affect you. Unless you're already amazing, then sure, go to Vancouver, spend $2,000, go to North American, spend $2,000, try to win a pro card, compete only for their pro card. Everyone else, compete in the show that you want to do that's fun for you. That's it. Bye.